officers, our friends, our pals. Don't forget, Carl White and the Marketing Animals has a Loan Officer Freedom podcast, absolutely free. Weekly, great stuff. Can't miss it. Super cool. He's always awesome. Click the banner you see right here on the screen over on your right. Might have to scroll down a little bit, or just scroll straight down. You should see the banner there somewhere that you can click to get on with the podcast. There's a link around here somewhere.
You know, so this first story is probably one of the most important stories going on in the country that nobody wants to talk about because it's just not sexy.
Because it's just not, it's
not
cool.
but it's huge.
Yeah,
well, think about
huge.
this. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac represent well over 50% of all the loans in this country. They
Sure.
insure them. They're the big players.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been talking about this whole idea of recap and release forever
Yeah.
with Fannie and Freddie. And, you know, the whole thing was, it's like, okay, this is just never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
No. Now it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, please.
Kind of. Like, it's kind of starting to. And if there's one thing about this current administration, the president, they kind of get things done.
They kind of do.
Now, I know half of you hate them, and I know half of you love them, but you have to admit, stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
Okay.
Definitely happens.
Totally. So our position with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with recap and release is this. Can't we just give these guys a mulligan?
Right.
We've said this forever.
I know.
Think about this, guys. Fannie Mae operated for nearly 75 years as the model of government-sponsored enterprise.
Sure did.
They made money every year. It led to the creation of the 30-year fixed-rate loan, a low-rate mortgage, mind you, better than what they had before. They brought on private capital, which everybody wanted, and through their profits have a nearly 100-year history of philanthropy and advocating in housing.
Right.
You know, helping those who need help with housing.
Yeah, they sound like good guys.
Beyond that, dude, they're like perfect.
Perfect.
Then this whole housing, global economy debacle thing came about, and they literally had just a couple of bad years.
A couple of really bad years.
Well, mind you, they were really, really, really bad. Like the worst ever. But dude, since then, they got back up on their feet.
Yeah.
And they paid off what the cost of the preferred stock with the government was.
Right.
And since then, they have made U.S. taxpayers, did you know this? Made you guys billions of dollars.
Yeah.
You should hope they fail all the time with all the money you fellas have made. So why not call this just a once-in-a-lifetime event and recapitalize and then release them? Let them go back to the way they were, because we had so many good years. Like a marriage. Been married for 25 years. There's probably a couple of bad years in there for me and her. It just happens. Okay, so now that looks more likely than ever in any time over the past decade. And by the way, long overdue.
Okay, so now there's groveling that this is a bad move. Right? Bad for who?
Right.
Bad for the Treasury, who'll be out quarterly capital sweeps, which has been very profitable for them.
Billions.
Bad for those against the current administration, who will surely count this as a victory. And we can't have victories for our adversaries now, can we? Now, the argument is, President is sidestepping Congress. That through the new FHFA director, Mark Calabria, the president is working outside of the rule of the law. Well, here's the problem.
Congress, those happen to be the ones who are complaining about this whole thing, right? That's how Congress works right now with the president. Well, see, they created the FHFA as an independent agency. That's what Congress did. They created it where the director had to be vetted by this very congressional body. And they did this to create checks and balances between the executive and the legislative branches, meaning Congress had to approve the president's guy, which they did. And if the president's guy went all rogue by agreeing with Congress, the president couldn't just arbitrarily fire him and get a new stooge in his place. This is the law that there's groveling about.
Congress approved Mark Calabria as FHA director. He's the one who has the legal authority to negotiate with the Treasury, to act as the voice of Congress. So now the president wants to recap and release, of sorts, and the director is showing the willingness to make this happen. Congress needs to shut up and understand that this move isn't bypassing them, it's simply following the law.
Whenever we talk about foreclosures or defaults, there's always a caveat. It's minus hurricanes.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, why? Because there ain't nothing like them in the world.
Yeah.
Maybe the California fires, but if you've seen what's happening in the Caribbean, I think it's like worse than Katrina, which is the worst thing I'd ever seen in the United States. We don't even know the extent of what's happening. It's absolutely horrible.
Now, for the states, think of this. As we speak, according to CoreLogic, over 668,000 single-family and multifamily homes are at risk, with a value at an astounding $1.446 billion.
When it comes to hurricanes, Florida ranks as the top state with the most single-family homes at risk of a Category 3. Of Category 3 storms, like Hurricane Dorian, with nearly 1.8 million homes at risk. Louisiana, 637,354 homes. New Jersey, 381,551. New York, 351,783. And Texas, with 259,993 homes at risk from these type of storms.
New York has the most at-risk multifamily homes at 64,778. Florida was the second most vulnerable with 54,403, followed by Massachusetts with 11,399. Louisiana with 7,223, and New Jersey with 3,549.
So they're all kind of blended together. What you should really take away is that's a lot of homes at risk from being completely plundered.
Yeah.
More so than the California fires that have been horrible for us. Now, this really makes me wonder about the policies we have insurance. I know California has decided to use lawsuits as a means of recovering money. Lawsuits that will make the cost of energy rise for everybody in the state, even those in low and no risk areas.
Yeah, we don't think that's fair. Same is the case for those in high-risk areas along the southeast coast. Same thing with flood insurance. In short, this is a reminder, if you choose to build a house in some of the highest risk areas, which tend to be the most desirable areas, unfortunately, along the coast and in the mountains, the insurance policies need to reflect that risk for these people, because building and buying in high-risk areas is an individual choice that should be shouldered by those who make those choices. Just food for thought.
Now, and we're not getting down on people who are about to, take on these hurricanes here, but I mean, there is a certain logic to that, because right now, the cost of our flood policies, our fire policies, our hurricane policies, they get diluted amongst other people in lower risk areas, and a lot of the people in those lower risk areas are also lower income areas, and that doesn't seem fair, and this is a theme with these natural disasters that keeps coming up.
Well, I have a listing in Cobb, California, which is in Lake County, which is up in the mountains, and we had a huge Lake County fire just a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
that
everybody
wiped
knows.
out everything, right? And the seller who's selling the house, their fire insurance on that property is $800 a month.
But you know what?
So they are putting the cost onto the people that live there.
They certainly are, but
Yeah.
the same people in the state of California, we're going to see all of our PG&E rights for everybody.
Right.
That's our gas and electric. So that means somebody like myself, who's in a low-cost area,
Right.
is going to offset the cost of people who choose to build homes in areas where they burn. We know where these hurricanes hit. We know where it floods. Like, if you ever look at a Thomas Kincaid painting, they all should be flood zones. They're all along creeks and lakes. Now, listen, if you're in one of these high-risk areas, please, by all means, take care of yourself. And we're thinking about you. We truly are. But I think it's times like this that we have to really reevaluate what we're doing with our insurance and plan accordingly.
Well, what are your thoughts? Let us know. Put them in the comments down below. You guys have a fabulous day.
Hit the share
The
button down
Facebook
here.
share button right there.
Share button.
Square thing. And then we'll catch you guys later here at the National Real Estate Post.
Bye.
Bye.